Hello everyone and welcome to Call Sign Charlie Models for part 1 of the Revell 148 scale B-1B. Now this is a kit I started about 2.5 years ago, and it's been on standby for about that long. Just because I was waiting on some parts to come in from ResKit, which we're going to get to see here in a second, and then once those parts came in, I had other projects on the bench and then some time constraints with shows and everything going on, so this one just kept on getting sidelined and sidelined and sidelined, and then some more parts would decide to come out or were on the work, so I was like, alright, let's put it off any longer. And finally, you know what, it's been on the standby shelf for long enough, so it's time to get this thing back on the bench. And it has accumulated a lot of dust. So doing the cleanup of all the plastic parts on the outside is going to be a primary thing starting off. But I just wanted to get you guys caught up on where I was with this kit, which is a pretty long way, and you're going to get to see some of the amazing detail from some of the aftermarket sets I've already used, and then some of the detail coming up in some of the other aftermarket sets I have to use for this. So basically the only thing that's going to be stock on this kit is the fuselage, and I still have a lot of work to do on the fuselage as well. Starting off with the panel lines. The panel lines on this kit are super thick, way out of scale, and you'll see why this matters here in a second when I show you one of the aftermarket sets that we're going to be using. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to refill all these panel lines and then rescribe all of them, and I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do that. I'm either going to use putty, or I'm thinking a stronger source to use that would be the UV clear resin, and let that dry, because it is resin and it's going to be super hard in there, and it will actually make a good hard line that I don't have to worry about chipping away when I'm painting and masking and all that stuff. So I'm thinking that's going to be the route I have. Also, we do have a good amount of modifications to do to this upper side, because I do have 3D printed chaff and flare dispensers that go right up here. We'll see that later on in the build, but I just have a lot of aftermarket going on to this, even including the wing glove area, which I'm going to need to cut off this area right here. And then we have some inserts that go on the inside, and then everything, because the kit, this is a very old kit. I'll have to look up on when this was first produced. And also with the kit, it says B-1B, but it's actually a B-1A kit with the exhaust and all the other things that are on this kit. It's actually a B-1A, and I'm bringing this up to a modern day B-1B, like ones that were used in Epic Fury or even Afghanistan. And we're going to get into some of the stories from Afghanistan and all that going on with other build or future parts of the build right here. So I've shown you the top half, and now it's time to show you the bottom half, and this is where the beauty of the aftermarket sets come in. So I have the metallic details landing gear sets and the metallic detail bomb bay sets here, and I'm going to flip it over because those are all done and ready to go. And as you can see right here, the detail on there, once I grab a flashlight here, kind of help show it a little bit better, and that's not helping at all or any, so I'm just gonna, here we go. See, I have the conventional bomb mechanisms in that one, and then a rotary launcher from this one, all from metallic details right here. But you can see the detail that's in there. Those are Edward bombs, the GPUs, and the JASMs that are in there, the standoff missiles right there. Those again from Edward, very nice. And then you can see the detail. I didn't want to cover it all up, so I didn't load it all the way. There's some better lighting on it. Try zooming in with the better light. Let's see if that works. Alright, so there you go. You can see the rotary launcher right there, all the detail that's included in this. You do have a couple options. Also, Bone Fragments does do one that is just as beautiful, but does require a lot more work on getting everything and doing your own wiring, while the manufacturer that did this one is already all 3D printed in there, and you just cut it off the supports and paint. And that's the same thing with these as well. And then we go into the landing gear right here, and the aft landing gear well, just absolutely gorgeous and 1,000,000,000 times better than what is provided in the kit. And then with the aft fuel tank right here, same thing, absolutely gorgeous and a cajillion times better than what is provided in the kit with the detail that's all on there. And even on the reverse side of it, there's more detail. Sadly, you can't see it. And the thing is, with this Bombay, also the fuel tank does cover up a lot of it. With that being said, these kits are very pricey, but you can see you pay for what you get, and we're going to get to see the nose landing gear well here shortly as well coming up. But I just wanted to show this part right here. And then moving on, we're going to move on to the nose section right here, which is done using the I got some Aries ejection seats for this to update the ejection seats on here, and then the Red Fox 3D printed decals for that. You're not going to be able to see any of this section. And then on the front section, it's the same thing. And then really, you can only see the front dashboard and the center control console if you look at through the side windows at the right angle. If you look through these small windows right here, you can see a little bit, I mean a very little of this panel right here. And then that's when light is available to it. Now when you close this up, probably not going to be able to see any of it. And then flipping this over, we have the nose landing gear well, and again you can see just the level of detail that's in there and all the cabling and everything. Just, it leaves the kit parts in the dust. There's no even comparison of that right there. So you can see all that. We do have some sanding work to do, and also you can see these holes that are drilled right here. These are for the Bone Fragments antenna set that comes in. They actually come with a jig, so you can paint or drill them all at the right space, and then also put them down at the right angle as well. So that's how the front section is coming. And then we have the Army Cast flaps and slats set right here. A lot of sanding. I still have some sanding to do to get this smoothed out. The warpage wasn't too bad on the one that I had. I still haven't checked the actual main flaps, but for this part it wasn't so bad. We had some filling to do out here, and I do know that there was something about the flaps not being long enough or too long by scale, but it looks good enough to me. That's what I'm going to go with. I mean, if it's a millimeter or 2 millimeters off, I'm not going to worry about that. But we have both flap and slat sets ready to go on the wings. We do have a little bit more filler to do around here, or sanding to do. And then on the reverse side, you can see the detail, and we have all the actuators and stuff that are going to go into here for the flaps, which the flaps are off in a box. I can't pull those out right now. And then we have the reason why this kit was put on the standby, and this is the Res Kit B-1B intake set. And from the looks of it, this set looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the detail on it with the panel lines, the exhaust, the intakes, and then on top of that, it actually includes an engine, so you can have the engine bay open and show off the detail of those engines, which I'm super excited to get into. And we're pulling this kit open. I'm just going to do a quick look at it because you're going to be able to see why I'm going to have to rescribe everything. But we're going to get more into it when we're actually doing this, but you can see all the 3D printed parts in here. we're going to put off all this stuff to the side and we'll put everything back. And like I said, we're going to get more in depth on this when I'm actually working on it. You can see the intake covers right here, fabric. Again, absolutely gorgeous. I think on this one, I'm going to use 2 of these to cover up one side, and then the other 2 are going to be on the ground, so you can actually see the intakes. I would hate to buy the seamless intakes and have all that intake detail and then cover it up with intake covers. So one side is going to be covered, and then the other side is going to be open. Then you see all the other detail that comes in here, and like I said, later on we'll get more into those, but this is why we need to rescribe the entire kit, is because of these parts right here. The panel lines are actually to scale. We do have some 3D print lines to sand down, but it shouldn't be too bad. But you can see, hopefully you can see the difference in the panel lines and rivet detail on this, just right in there. And then even this one, it has the inside of the engine bay right here, so that is definitely going to be a lot of fun to color or paint up and weather and make dirty and grungy because of all the everything coming off the engines. Definitely going to be a lot of fun on that. So really excited to get into these and get this all attached. I did hear that there were some issues of getting it to fit onto the kit. Slight issues, nothing like major or trash worthy. So that's where that is right now, and that's why we're gonna have to do all the extra work of rescribing everything. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rescribe everything prior to attaching the tail end and the nose end and the main fuselage, because it's just going to be a lot easier to be handling those smaller sections than having it all glued together and scribing at that point. So that's my plan of attack for that. So I think next week, or the next video, which is next week for me because I'm doing 1 build a day. I got 7 builds going on right now. So we're just doing 1 build per day right here. I'm getting everything stocked back into this box. So for the next video, I think what we're going to do is we are going to start with cutting off the sections for the wing gloves and getting those ready to go, and then also getting the chaff and flare sections cut out and ready to go on that. And get all that stuff glued in and ready to go, so that way when I glue the 2 fuselage halves together, that is all said and done. And then also with the wings, what I'm thinking about doing is I'm gonna notch right here so I can slot these wings on, instead of having to glue them on together with the fuselage, because once the flaps are down, these wings aren't going to be movable. So, or we might glue them all in all together. But we also need to do a brass rod so that prevents the droop, because some of these kits, especially with the resin parts on the sides, does add a lot of weight to it, so the wings will start to droop a lot after a little while. So I think I'm going to do a brass rod going through here all the way to the other wing to keep those pretty straight and level. They do have a little bit of a droop or a sag when they're sitting on the ground, but not as much as what there would be after about 6 months to a year of this sitting out on the shelf. So that's where we're standing with the B-1B. Still have a very long way to go. This is going to be a diorama. I also do have the res kit MJ1B or C jammer loading tractors for this, and a bunch of other stuff for it. So it's going to be a nice fun diorama with mirrors on the bottom so you can see all the work that's in the landing gear well and the bomb base and such, and also with the engine. But other than that, that's all I got. Like I said, next week we're actually going to start building this, or working on the build, because this was just a catch-up for me as well, because I honestly had no idea where we were in this build. So now my mind has been refreshed and we can start tackling this beast. And I hope you guys stick around for that because it's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, hit the bell button for notifications of when I post future videos like this one, which will be on Wednesdays every week. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. You stay frosty and happy modeling.